So my name's Kathleen. I work at Bluff Road Medical Practice. I'm a practice nurse and I've been there for approximately about 2.5 years, and Jan also, she's works with me and has been there for a lot longer. So in March 19th of this year, we were due for our annual checking and servicing of our 2 vaccine storage fridges, and we inquired about getting them checked and serviced from the company that did them last year, and we were given last year a compliance certificate. So this year we organised for the gentleman to come out. He spent an hour with us, and on completion of that, the servicing of both these vaccine fridges, we were given a certificate of notice of non-compliance that the vaccine fridges at Bluff Road did not comply with the standards of vaccine storage as issued by the Quality Care Pharmaceutical Program. The notice stated that both of the fridges have problems with the controlled refrigerator systems, and therefore they cannot be calibrated to correctly display the real temperature inside the fridge at any one time. We were recommended, therefore, to purchase 2 new fridges at the cost of $11,803. So our shock, and our partners of the practice were quite shocked as well, because the same company came and did the servicing of both fridges last year, and I'll tell you what they did last year, in which we were given, yep, they're all okay, and this year we had the same man come out, or from the company. The reasons that were given from the company that we did not comply with compliance were: the fridges were measured in 3 different areas, locations, as you can see, like the upper, middle and lower, and it was noted that the fridges were not calibrated to read true temperature. It was noted that the middle shelf in the fridge 2, which I'll have to double check on our diagrams that we were given, I think it was our travel fridge, that's our government free fridge there. Oh no,
I think it's
they're both. They're both our travel fridge. The fridge 2 read minimum, maximum respectively of 1.3 to 6.7. Therefore, the lower range was out of the control. They are saying that the controller cannot be calibrated properly, and therefore to keep the vaccines at a temperature that they're meant to be stored at. They also said that the minimum maximum display cannot be calibrated at all, and therefore there is no provision for it, which I'll go in because there's a bit of contradiction from last year. And if the temperatures were to be adjusted to the best on the controller, the minimum maximum would be a long way off, therefore affecting the efficacy of the storage of vaccines. They also stated that the data logger, which we have uploaded every week and download, that is currently on the fridge, is connected on a probe that is in the same place as the controller and the minimum maximum display. It was stated, therefore, that the data logger is also not recording the correct air stock temperature correctly and cannot be relied upon to save stock in event of a failure. Therefore, it must be noted that we have only had these fridges for 3 years, so they're not very old at all, and we haven't had a lot of maintenance done on them, so they've been working effectively for us for the last 3 years. And the gentleman who came out to attend the service, as I said, did the service last year for us at Bluff Road, and he was satisfied with the running of them, and all he did was adjust the calibration on the controller last year to make sure that our fridges were working effectively and met the standards of compliance. So therefore we were very bemused and baffled of why this year we were given a certificate of non-compliance, whereas last year the fridges were, he spent the same time I was there last year when he came and worked on the fridges, tested the upper, middle, lower shelving, and all he did was had to recalibrate the ranges. So it's quite alarming to hear that he stated this with the servicing, and in the hour that he tested the temperatures at the top, the middle and the lower shelf of the fridges, he only found a variation of 5 degrees that he stated in the letter to us of non-compliance. So in response to this, we put our working hats on. One of our other nurses, Pam, who works with us, we decided that we weren't actually happy with the outcome. Our practice partners weren't happy because given that, you know, we were told, and we got a letter back not long after he came out in response to this, that, you know, we had to, the recommendation was to purchase 2 new fridges, given last year's attendance and the outcome, and there was such a great discrepancy that we decided to take it upon ourselves and purchase 6 minimum maximum thermometers to place in each of the fridges, so the upper, the middle, or the lower, and you might be able to see,
one there.
We've got one here,
Yeah, one there.
and we've got one up here, and there's one that we've placed down the bottom. So we did that late March, and we record the morning and the evening fridge temperatures, and so we're recording these internal fridge temperatures as well, morning and evening. We also carried out a slurry test before putting these thermometers in the fridges, and that passed. So, yeah, it met.
And then what were the actual temperatures when you were
Okay.
recording the
temperatures actually were within the range between 2 and 8. They didn't actually vary greatly at all.
Was it pretty consistent among the
Yep.
in between the shells?
And I'm one of the morning, yeah. So, and we do everything as required. We put the probe inside the vaccine box, so it's actually, we're doing the, you know, doing what the guidelines
I can
state.
actually see it there. I think that's the probe inside
Yeah.
that box. Yeah.
So, yeah, so you can,
That box, one of those boxes.
yeah,
there
one of
as
the
well,
boxes
that has
up
the probe.
there.
That's just a hanging cord.
So from your findings, what did you say to the man?
Well, we
So-
actually haven't followed it up yet because we
Yeah.
thought we've got to actually set a time frame of, so we can actually see whether or not there is a trend for us with these temperature range. So we'll have to do an analysis. So we'll say, give ourselves, I think, 3 months, I think we're doing, and then get all our data, see what's happening, and if it stays consistent within that range, well,
Write your own compliance.
Now,
yes.
I'll tell you a little bit more about this. I'll just borrow the
Take that
mic
now.
for a bit. So
Was it the same fellow who came last year? Or
yes, the
gentleman?
same gentleman that came the year before. Now, I was actually overseas. I haven't been overseas in 9 years. And I was actually overseas when Pam sent me an email going, look, we've just had the maintenance guy come in, and this is what he's reported, and he's issued us with non-compliance. This is what we're thinking of doing. We're just going to do we've gotten these thermometers, and we're just going to track it ourselves, which I thought was very proactive and fantastic. Like, wouldn't you agree? Like, that's quite a proactive way of going. Yeah. Well, 6. That's great. But then there's no way that you're not getting a good accurate reading. They've also done the slurry test to make sure that the thermometers are accurate. So they've covered all bases. That's more than I think even I would have thought of doing. So I get this email, and I'm in Singapore, and I'm going, okay, so I'm emailing Pam back going, okay, no, that sounds like you're doing great. Just keep monitoring. If they haven't had a breach yet, there's no reason to panic. There's no reason to discard anything or call Department of Health. Keep monitoring, and then we can have a look, and when I get back, and we'll investigate further. If they haven't had a breach and you're tracking all the shells, just keep doing what you're doing, keep documenting. And so they actually are keeping track of not just morning temperatures and afternoon temperatures, morning temperatures for all shells. Yeah? And afternoon, yeah. And again, this is a special scenario because we had this gentleman come out and do this maintenance thing. Now, a couple of weeks later, I get another practice calling me, going, we had a maintenance guy, it was the same guy that came last year, we've just been issued with, same fridge, we've just been issued with this notice of non-compliance. So here I am thinking, well, either all these fridges are all of a sudden starting to die after 3 years, again, it was only a couple of years old, or there's something dodgy. And immediately there was the offer of, lucky for you, in the back of my truck, I've got a couple of fridges that I can sell you right now. But their bill was about $7,000, so it wasn't $11,000. Theirs was going to be $7,800. Maybe we started cutting back the price. Yeah. So wait a second. This is sounding a bit sus. So she said, well, look, what I'm doing is I'm not happy with this, and I think we're doing quite a good job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a second opinion. I'm going to get a different, because the way that we found this gentleman was because we called the company, and he's the one that they recommended. Yeah. Now they called again and they said this was the issue, and they managed to they called their supplier, their medical supplier, the one that issued them with the fridge, and they sent them another person. The second person came in and did a note and said the fridge is perfectly fine. There's no issue. There's less than 1 degree of difference between the shelves. Yeah. I get a third call from another practice.
We need to know what this guy's name is.
So it's the company. And so these are all practices in this area that have had the same setup. Now this other practice calls me and they're really concerned. They're saying, you know, this is happening, not quite sure. I was really upset. Now they called me after they had done all this. I was so upset that I called, like they actually called the company and said, how's this possible? The fridge is brand new. And they said, we're going to send one of our own maintenance guys, one of the rep/maintenance guys. And again, so this was a different practice, another second opinion said the fridge is perfectly fine. It's actually well within less than 1 degree. It's same as this other, the second opinion from the other company said less than 1 degree between the shelves, no issue whatsoever. So this is a bit of a warning and watch out. There are potentially scams out there.
Have you reported them?
So what we're doing is, so we've alerted obviously. I think, and this is again like I think he used to work for them, and now he's now solo, and now that he's solo and working under his own kind of company, it's gone a bit haywire. So we've alerted about it, so they know not to recommend his services anymore. And we're also letting the medical suppliers know so that they don't give out this gentleman's number. So I thought that was an interesting case because it's one of those, you haven't been doing anything wrong, you're actually doing everything right, and all of a sudden you're faced with this decision of, whoa, what do we do? And I thought that was like the way that you went about it was perfect, that was ideal.
Discrepancy from last year to this year, and we have done nothing different. And the only breaches that we've actually encountered is a power outage that wasn't, you know, it was only 2 days or something. So, and we did all the recommended, you know, things that you're meant to do with storing your kidney vaccines safe and following up and dilemma.
I think you've done fantastically well. So I can't commend you enough. And yeah, so in total that we know of, there's been 4 practices that have had this setup. 2 of those practices have had second opinions with 2 different providers, and they've both been fine. So if you have that, make sure that you contact me, and because this is how we can investigate and see what's going on.